Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for episode 22 of SEO Fight Club. I want to thank everyone for joining us on this fine day. Anything new in your world, Kyle?
Right now, I'm sitting in Destin, Florida, which is the white sand beach area in the Panhandle. It's very pretty, very nice, very hot and muggy and gross otherwise. But they have a lot of fried shrimp, so I'm doing pretty well.
Nice. What about you, Clint?
Oh, getting some AC repairs done, which is vital in Yuma, and dealing with a contractor who stole $3,000
Hey,
and disappeared. So that's my week.
That's no fun.
Not at all.
All right. Well,
raise your SEO rates. Thanks, AC guy.
we will dive right in. So, if you want to learn about us, you can go to our webpage, have brief bios there. We won't bore you with those details, though. SEO this week. If you live under a rock and you have not heard about this yet, it is a YouTube show where Clint goes through hundreds of articles, blog posts, news related to search marketing and SEO, and he filters it down to the 5 or 10 most important articles of the week. So if you pour through all of that content every month, and I used to do that, I used to spend like 20 hours a month just trying to stay current, you can get all that time back just by watching Clint's show, and he does a great job of it. What can people expect?
So this week we get a big epiphany from Google, and they let us in that title tags and meta descriptions and links actually do matter for ranking.
Holy crap, we had no idea.
We let that cat out of the bag for everybody. We talked about a couple of great posts over at Search Engine Journal from guest authors over there who actually talked about using R and Google Data Studio to do your niche research and reporting to clients, which is really handy. And then we round off the show talking about how to build cloud stacks with S3. And in particular, a tool called Ranking Factory. A lot of people wanted to know about.
All right, so I definitely recommend you check out SEO This Week and be sure to subscribe. It's an amazing resource. And our Skype group is full. We do hope to have a solution to this problem in the very near future. We'll probably announce something about that soon. But there is a waiting list. So if you want to get on the waiting list to get into the current group or to be notified when the solution is out, just go to either of those two URLs. There should be a place on the page to sign up. And so let's start talking about the algorithm. What do you guys know about the June 8th core update?
I know that it didn't affect any of my sites, so it's really hard to talk about. Kyle, did you get any sites affected?
No, none of the client sites got hit or really even gained. Like no huge move, just normal kind of fluctuations you expect kind of day to day, week to week. So nothing from our end is really standing out.
Yeah, I have a number of calibration sites that are just kind of out there ranking for a keyword, and I never SEO them. I never change them, and I use them for unit testing Cora because they always produce the exact same measurements every time I run a report against the calibration website. And so these calibration websites are kind of interesting because it's not any SEO I'm doing. It's only algorithm shifts and competition that cause them to move up and down. So my calibration site saw about a 10 spot drop. And that's unusual. That normally is never a jump that big.
How many? I'm sorry, Ted. How many sites are we talking about?
About 6.
And did they all move in the same general direction, or did they?
Yeah, they all went down.
Okay.
And I got reports from the folks over at Planted Tree about various industry sites, mostly financial in nature, taking big hits. And there was a few announcements of companies closing because of the traffic loss. So I'm sure everybody saw those announcements. But yeah, by and large, it's difficult to see what's different now. So other things we kind of know about this update come from Google's plausible deniability face, Danny Sullivan, the new Matt Cutts. So he's telling us it's not Panda. So if you trust that source, it's not Panda. I don't know that that's particularly helpful information. He told us that it's rolled out now. So we know it's rolled out as of, I believe it was the 7th when he claimed it was rolled out. Yeah, the date's there. And everybody published it was the 8th. So that's another tidbit of information we know about it. And of course, Google claims you can't do anything about it. So, right. I'm sure no experts anywhere can think of anything to make their situations better.
That's the most amazing statement of all time to me, that you can't optimize your site.
John Mueller was approached with that, and he said when they tell people you can't fix anything is because the update was targeting several things versus a specific thing. So when they say, like his example was site speed, for instance, or SSL or mobile, those are specific things that you can do to fix as a result for this algorithm. But when we say you can't fix anything, they're trying to say that we just can't give you the list of things that we changed.
Yeah, that's what I imagine too. Is it's a way of obfuscating what they're doing more than being accurate about what you can do about your situation.
Yeah, for sure. Because every one of since then, the people that are asking them for advice, it's always find out from your users, look at user quality, and see if your content's good. And then I'm like, okay.
Well, yeah. Kyle ranked tuned Latin, so that was excellent content. My favorite content in the world.
And that may or may not still be working.
Didn't you find someone that?
Yeah, somebody else found it actually. Somebody completely copied the rhinoplasty Plano site, changed out the city name, and I won't out it publicly.
Yeah,
but they changed out the city name, but literally left everything exactly the same. All the silo articles were the same. Everything was exactly the same, and it's now ranking either 3rd or 4th for that city.
That is so awesome.
Nice.
Science wins again.
Whoever did that, I'm going to drink a rum for you.
It was awesome. Like it's a straight copy, and it was really, really hilarious. Just changing out the city name.
So a few things appeared in the data. Let me pin this for a little bit. So what we have here is Cora shared data, and I pulled shared data from a week at the beginning of the month and from a recent week, and we're comparing the 2 weeks to see kind of what's different with the bulk of the update in the middle. And so one standout, you might remember a few weeks ago, we went over factors and I mentioned that Ahrefs had a big jump. And we were like, wow, that's interesting. Wonder if they updated their database. Well, now they have a big jump downward, and SEMrush has a big jump upward. And so I think what we're actually seeing here is our systems and our data are sensitive enough that we can see when these third-party websites have big updates to their own link graph models. And so it looks like SEMrush just like updated their link graph, their version of PageRank, and now we're seeing that relevancy shift with rankings. And so it's cool to see that direct competition. But that's not what Google's doing. That's these guys competing toe to toe with the authority of their data sets. But I thought that was cool. The one standout that really, came to me here is the relevancy on page got a boost. So it looks like on page is more important. So if your pages are poorly tuned, you're probably getting a hit. And my calibration pages, I don't do SEO on them. They're all poorly tuned. By design, they're poorly tuned. And so it makes sense that if on page matters more, all my calibration sites would fall. So this kind of agrees with the result I saw. And I don't think you guys are running poorly tuned pages in general. So you'd probably miss that because that's not what you do. So I thought that was interesting.
Ted, you've run these shared reports before. What do these changes look like compared to just a regular Tuesday? Where there isn't necessarily an update or a core update that's been rolled out. Is this pretty normal looking? Is it abnormal?
Yeah, like I've highlighted the things that kind of stand out to me. Seeing term frequency and TF-IDF as general indicators of keyword usage on page, just both going up. That's an important signal to me there. And then again, seeing these off-page factors flip-flop, it's not that backlinks are better or they both go up. It's that Ahrefs went down because SEMrush updated, and now their backlink database correlates better with rankings than Ahrefs. And I'm sure...
I don't know, because you have the number of factors used. That's number one. It's probably always going to be number one. But then the second one is Ahrefs rank, so the URL rank in Ahrefs, and then the referring domains, the IP address and C classes went down. So maybe you don't need as much diversity as what that could indicate. You don't need as much diversity from your referring domains, but your URL quality should be higher. That's how I read that. Because I know that SEMrush, their backlink database is it was boosted up because they did a connection with Majestic now. So they're not running their own. They just said, hey, let's connect to Majestic now. So if you turn that on in your accounts, that could, in my opinion, that could be more of an indication that Majestic SEMrush combination is working really good, assuming people did connect their accounts.
Could be, but I'm guessing that when we see these go up and down like this, that it's probably them updating their link graph, because it's not a real-time thing. They have to crawl the web, and then they have to redo their link graph, then they can redo their scores. So the same way that Google would publish PageRank quarterly in the past, these companies are doing the same thing. They're crawling the web, making a graph, trying to recreate PageRank, and they're probably updating it quarterly or something. And so I'm guessing that we'll see these, referring domain numbers flip-flop as they do their updates.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but it's just my best guess.
Interesting. To me, that term frequency, with John Mueller saying update your quality and stuff, and now you see the data that says term frequency, there might be something in there. Optimize your pages better. That might be what he's trying to say.
Yeah. When I see term frequency and TF-IDF go up, to me, that's just an indicator that on page got a boost. And that's good, because that's something that we can act on.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And it's a lot easier than link building.
So calibration sites. Again, I had one that fell 11 places. That was the worst one. And again, I don't do SEO on these. I keep them exactly static so they produce the exact same measurements every time, so I can tell that my software is measuring properly. That's the idea of these sites. Just so happens that they also rank on, page 2 for pretty competitive terms. But I don't SEO them. They just stay the same year after year after year. And seeing it fall 11 places, that's unusual. Prior to this update, probably the biggest swing was like 4 or 5 spots. So what's different in this? Well, I see these keywords and headings is up, word count and title tag is up, keywords and p tags. So keywords and content looks like the deal. That kind of goes in line with TF, IDF, and term frequency. So, you know, kind of getting a similar message. JSON LD schema markup, that's an interesting one. But yeah, in general, this looks like a TF, IDF swing. So another thing we can look at is, you know, some past experiments, you know, see if those have been shaken up by the update. So it's always good to, you know, get fresh data on old knowledge. And so that's what we'll do in this part. So this was a fun little experiment for the name mystery. We put names and headings and they shot to the bottom, and we were like, why does Google hate names? So I repulled the leaderboard, and the first thing that stood out was the indexing was great on this one. So I didn't lose indexing, just this one site had a little dip. And then yeah, you know, we see that the ranking data is all there, and Google still hates our names. And it's not an anti-bullying algorithm because, unfortunately for Lee, he's ranking well. So again, we don't know much about the name mystery, but the big takeaway here was Google wasn't just de-indexing low-value pages by itself. Otherwise, this experiment would have been decimated. So that's another little tidbit. Keyword density still looks the same. There's more indexing issues. Controls cases that are at 1% density got de-indexed or are close to it down here. And high matches got de-indexed. But our ridiculous keyword densities are still rocking strong, still the same curve as before. So it still looks like keyword density is the thing over match count. There doesn't appear to be anything algorithmically penalizing keyword density. We don't recommend that you use these. Obviously, these are totally ridiculous things, and it's not even English when you tune to this degree, and you will get manually penalized. But this definitely shows that there's nothing in the algorithm that says you are over-optimized on keyword density, thus you are booted. That's clearly not what's happening. And these high match count ones, these were all at 10% keyword density. So even though they have large numbers, they have big content, and they're kept at 10% keyword density, and they got de-indexed. So maybe there's something about high match counts now. I mean, that's a possibility. We'll probably have to repeat this experiment to know for sure. Looking at HTML tags, this one got decimated. I mean, everything pretty much got de-indexed except for the top 3 test cases. And those happen to be keywords in your title tag, keywords in the URL, and the magical power combo of the keyword in your URL matching the keyword in your title tag. Though, you know, that's a powerhouse. I mean, it's just ones across the board except for the one site it got de-indexed on. So this whole test has to be redone, but it looks like keywords in URL, keywords in title tag are still the powerhouses they used to be. Factor diversity, progress is never a straight line, but same trend we tend to see. What's cool about this one is we see all test cases beating all controls. I like to see that. That's, a good indicator of signal. There are some indexing issues. One factor definitely got de-indexed, so you need more than one factor for sure. But yeah, it looks largely the same in terms of the trend line. So yeah, there's not a lot of changes we can pick up on. There may be some de-indexing issues, like that maybe never got completely fixed to begin with. It might be the new normal. Hard to tell on that front. But in general, it looks like on-page got a bit of a boost.
This goes to, we were talking about this before, to my tinfoil hat, that this wasn't an update. It was just them saying, yeah, it's an update, because people usually freak out and it turns into this whole thing and people talking about whatever happened and they speculate. And so now they're getting ahead of it, but by just saying, hey, there was an update, but it really wasn't anything. So they can be like, hey, so you need to calm down with these update things because they're really not that big a deal.
Yeah, that could be the case. They might just announce updates to see what people do and how they respond.
Or it could have been a normal update. They do this all the time where they roll out, they talk about that, that's what they do. They roll out hundreds of updates a year. This could have just been that.
I wonder how many of their deployments are just bug fixes.
Right.
They're not like algorithm changes. They're like, oops, we messed this up, we messed that up, and we just have to redeploy to correct it. Yeah, we don't know. But in general, it looks like everything should be about the same, but who knows? It might be too early to tell yet, because we don't really know if the information we get from Google is true or not. Especially when all they give us is it's rolled out and it's not Panda. It's like, thanks, Google. So, any other thoughts? Should we go to some questions?
The questions are really not related to the test results. So, users, if you guys, or viewers, if you have anything about the questions about the test results, otherwise, we can answer general questions, Ted, if you
Sure.
guys.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Let me go back up to there. First one, do Web 2.0 sites still bring backlink use to a money site?
Yeah, link's a link as far as I can tell. What do you guys think?
Yep, link's a link to me. I still use them. Second, is it better to have two websites for a local service business? I guess if you have a local, if you're doing a, I don't know, if you're an electrician, a plumber, and you work on ACs, having a separate website will give you more reach. Or if you do like Ted's layout where he was talking about having your sales on one domain and your blog on another and your landing pages on another, and you can take over a page, an entire search result, there's an option there. So
yeah, and if you do lawn maintenance services versus landscaping services, there might be enough differences in those offerings that you might want to separate them as two different things. It really depends what you're offering as to whether or not it makes sense to separate them for context.
Do keyword position on page make a difference, like above the fold versus near the footer?
I've always found that it didn't. I've tried testing it and having your keyword be at the top as opposed to the bottom didn't really show any difference in my testing.
Personally, I wouldn't take the chance of being like, let's just throw them all at the bottom of the page. I would, if you're writing about your topic, you should actually have that topic kind of near the top, just naturally.
Yeah,
I don't think there's anything you should worry about. Just write.
Optimize for humans in that case.
Yeah.
Let's see. And here's a test question from Frederick. All the test cases were focused on page. Anything that anyone has seen off page?
Not yet. I haven't had a chance to dive much deeper than what I've shown so far. I did go and look at the search results for how the variations have changed. And, just from my quick observations that were not scientific, it kind of struck me that there might be a little more natural language processing going on, especially around question search phrases. And that could shake up results for anybody that has content that's geared towards question and answer.
I haven't seen anything either, but I haven't run my comparison to the dating, the 100 keywords that I ran using the new since the last update yet. So, and I did with those. I used Ahrefs and SEMrush API on the data, so it might tell us a little bit of something.
All right, are we good on questions?
Yep, that's the last question.
Awesome. Well, I guess we'll keep it a bit short. You guys have any speaking engagements coming up?
I don't.
Right.
I just did a podcast. Doug Cunningham niche site project, I believe. That should come out next month. If you like listening to me, I like listening to me.
Jordan's saying there's an October event.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that's the NFG SIA combined Rockstars event of the year. So yeah, that's the event. Is there a location for that yet, Jordan?
Is there a date yet?
They've got it narrowed down to
October is broad.
if they do it October 31st, it's gonna be a disaster. Hopefully, like early or mid October.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome. I might dress up in drag for that one.
Oh, Southern California, mid October. Ooh, Disneyland. Okay, it's gonna be a good event. So this will be a cool one. So that that'll be great. That'll be the NFG Rockstars. So that'll be an exciting one. Let's see. I guess any other final thoughts, guys?
No, all good.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. If we get any new information, we will obviously update you in future episodes. And, well, have a good one. Have a good day.
See you, everybody.